Hi everyone, John Cottrell here, and welcome to Soft Flow. This is a 60-minute gentle yoga practice. So glad you can join me. So in this practice today, I thought we'd just go back to an old favorite, old classic, Pigeon Pose. Pigeon Pose, you really can't go wrong. Just some good hip openers. I'm going to give you two variations of the posture. The first time that we get into the posture will actually be kind of a non-conventional way or just a different way, and it's called, well, one variation of the pose is just reclining pigeon pose. And then we'll move forward and get into more of the classic pigeon pose. And I'll say a little bit more about the posture as we're moving into it. Of course, you want to use some props. And props for this particular pose, pigeon pose, is going to be great. So you'll want to have a blanket, something soft that you can sit on, kneel on, and just to protect your joints, really, your wrists, your knees, your hips. So have a blanket or even a nice fluffy towel. And then a couple of blocks. They can even just be some stacked books, just a nice firm surface that has a little bit of height, okay? It could be several hardbound books, actually, so that's going to be helpful. And maybe a pillow. Now, I've got a yoga bolster. Now, this is kind of big and it's firm. It actually might be too big for what I could use it for in this yoga practice, especially when we get into pigeon pose. You might want to have something smaller and even a little softer. So just a pillow would be great. Okay, let's go ahead and begin. As always, we like to start in seated. So find a comfortable seat on your yoga mat, and that of course could be on your blanket or pillow or towel. I like to cross my legs. This is half lotus, and this is just comfortable for me. I like sitting this way, but you can sit in any style. It can just be easy pose, just crossing at the shins and ankles. You can even extend your legs if that feels a little bit more comfortable for you at this moment, or even sit up against a wall so you have some support for your back, or even sit in a chair for this first portion of the class. So what we like to do here is just kind of get settled in, get reacquainted with breath, and just get ready to go. So you might start with a few deep breaths in and out. A nice full breath in through your nose. You might exhale through your nose or out through the mouth. Do that a couple times. Nice deep breath in, a nice audible exhale. And then just feel the body and just settle in, start to relax a little bit. And just continue with slow, steady breaths. Nice. Slow, steady breaths. As a way of settling your mind, your body, arriving in the moment, preparing for your practice. You can do this with your eyes opened if you'd like, just gazing forward, not really looking at anything in particular. We're just gazing downward at the ground. You can even do this with your eyes closed. Just move inward and just listen to the sound of your breath. Feel your breath as it moves through you. Just to bring a little bit more awareness to the breath, as you inhale, you may just feel the breath rising upward to fill up your lungs. So just feel that nice expansive quality in your upper body. And as you exhale, while holding this uplifting sensation as best as you can, we create the abdominal lock. And that's just the drawing of the navel in towards the spine. It doesn't have to be too strong. Just an awareness of just kind of lightly just pulling in. So there's an awareness of your center. So again, as you inhale, just feeling the breath rise to fill up your lungs, you might find yourself sitting up a little taller too. As you exhale, draw belly in, just an awareness, a light engagement of your abdominal muscles, and just continue that a few more times on your own. This is our breathing meditation. Just taking this time in stillness. It's also a wonderful time to set an intention for your practice. It could be anything that you want. Go ahead and take 3 more breaths in and out. Prepare your body to move. And we'll start with a very simple movement. Together, let's inhale and extend your arms out across the room. Reach out and let them reach all the way out, completing that inhale. And as you exhale, extend your arms out and let them float back down by your side. Just take your time, really just moving at the pace of your own breath. Let's do that again together. Inhale, reaching out, nice energy through your hands and fingers. Reach all the way up. Just treat it like a nice stretch here. And exhale, extend your arms out. Feel like as if you're going to touch the walls on either side of you. Completing the exhale, arms down by your side. Go ahead and continue on your own, at your own pace of movement and breath. You don't have to follow me necessarily. You're just following your breath. Awareness of your breathing, the feeling, the sound. And even notice how your body is responding to the breath. As you're moving in slow motion, arms extending, there's some good energy there in your arms. As you reach up into the air, you might even feel a lengthening through the sides of your body. Notice the movement through your shoulders. Very nice. Go ahead and finish the breath that you're on right now, and then complete 2 more breaths. And when you're complete, you can just bring your arms down by your side and just come back to stillness and relaxation. Deep breaths. If you're sitting in a chair, you might want to make your way down to your yoga mat. Again, just find a comfortable seat. Still in seated, just want to bring your hands behind you, maybe just propped up onto your fingertips like this. Almost leaning back just a little bit, drawing your shoulders back so you can sense that your heart is moving forward, a nice open chest. And then tip your chin up a little bit here too. Just creating a little bit more openness, nice spaciousness across the upper chest from shoulder to shoulder. When you inhale, just press into the ground with the fingertips. Feel that energy rise up the arms, through your shoulders, up the spine, filling up your lungs. As you exhale, draw belly in for that engagement, and as you're able, squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you. And just keep doing that same thing with each breath. An inhale, pressing into the ground, strong arms, shoulders back, heart opened, lungs expanding. Exhaling, core connection, navel to spine, squeezing shoulder blades together. Now it's quite obvious that we're bringing more sensation to the body, so notice these feelings. We're also creating support in the body by squeezing shoulder blades together behind you, providing support in the upper body, drawing belly in to contract the abdominal muscles, creating support in the low belly. Go ahead and just take 2 more breaths as we sit and breathe in this mild seated back bend. When you're complete, just lower your chin so you're looking directly forward. Walk your hands toward yourself so you're sitting up nice and tall. And again, your arms can just relax into your lap right here. Take a breath or 2. Now, Pigeon Pose, of course, is a hip opener. So let's go ahead and get into another hip opener that we typically do, and that's bound angle pose or cobbler's pose. So if your legs are crossed here, we're going to uncross the legs and just press the soles of the feet together, or they're just touching here. And we create a knee bend with a hip opener. Here the knees may touch the ground. Of course, they don't have to touch the ground. If they're just kind of floating in space right here, this is where you can use your blocks or books or small pillows just to tuck them underneath right there. So they have a little extra support. They don't feel like they're just hanging there, but they're actually resting on something. And then go ahead and hold on to your shins or ankles. Just a very comfortable placement for the hands so you can sit up as tall as can be, lengthen spine. You'll inhale just to get a little taller through the upper body. As you exhale, draw belly in lightly and start to hinge forward, leading with your heart or chin just a tiny bit, not far at all. As we always do in our soft flow classes, we take our time, we move slowly, and never needing to go deeply or fully 100% into any pose. We like to say that we're moving, about 60% into the pose, or working at 60%. So just hinging forward a tiny bit here, just into that point where you start to have sensation. Like, oh, okay, I start to feel a little stretch quality in the inner thighs. And that's as far as you really need to go. And even that is beneficial. It's nice because you're not overstressing or overworking the body in this stress or in this stretch, rather than pushing or forcing the body into a pose which will create stress, okay? You're even welcome to lower your chin, even around your back. That might even allow you to go a little deeper without compromising that 60% work effort that we're providing here. And wherever you are, just breathe deeply. And just feel as if you could hold this for a good period of time. Not a very long time, but you don't feel like you're going to get too tired just by holding this posture. A few more deep breaths. How about 2 more here? And if your back is rounded and your chin is lowered, to re-extend the spine, first just lift your chin a little bit so you're looking out in front of you. That will start that re-extension of your spine. Maybe place your hands on your mat and just help press and lift yourself up. Just a nice personal assist to help you sit up nice and tall. Hold here for a moment. All right, let's move our props that are supporting our legs here. We're going to make our way to our hands and knees. Just take your time. No specific way on how to get to your hands and knees, just very mindful of how you're moving. And then you might want to kneel on your folded blanket or towel, whatever you have that's soft underneath you, so you're in this tabletop position. Ready for cat and cow. It starts with cow pose, which is an inhale. You're going to inhale and look up or just forward, really, creating an arched back, a little back bend feel. Then exhale, round it out. So round out the spine, pull belly button up towards spine, chin to chest. And you'll just reverse it. Feel the pelvis tip back. Your belly will kind of drop as you create that back bend feel. Heart opens, look forward. Exhale, round it all out. Tuck your tailbone under. Feel the curvature of the spine. Belly button pulls up towards spine, chin to chest. And again, you can go at your own breath pace. Breathing in, breathing out, flowing with the body, accompanied by the breath. Now, as you're doing this, let's also check in with the body. Just notice how you're feeling. Now, this is putting some pressure on the hands and wrists. So if that's a little bit too much, or you've been here long enough, feel free to take a break. You can always just sit back just to get off the hands and wrists and give them a little massage if you like. If you're still in the posture and moving, you might want to bring your elbows or arms down so it takes that pressure off the hands, and you can still continue this nice flow. Alrighty. And then even add other types of movements. I'll just show you some examples. I like to circle the hips. Okay, maybe one way, like clockwise, and then counterclockwise. Just some circular motions here. Just really helps to kind of lubricate in the hip sockets there. Another thing I like to do is actually bring the legs close together and then just lean to one side. I'm leaning to the left right here, just really getting into that outer hip. For me, that feels really good. And I do the other side. I just kind of hold that and just take a couple breaths. So that's one thing I like to do. Another thing you may want to add is maybe a little twist. Like this is called thread the needle. A little twist here. This is called thread the needle. Now we're going to be doing a pose that's actually called eye of the needle. Okay? I mentioned that we're going to be doing reclining pigeon pose. And actually, reclining pigeon pose is actually just another name for eye of the needle pose. So maybe a little preview by doing thread the needle, which adds a little twist in the spine, maybe a little opening in the hips. All right, go ahead and just take 3 more breaths, whatever you're doing. And after those 3 breaths, just make your way back to hands and knees, find stillness, and take a breath or 2. Alrighty. Then go ahead and crawl off of your pad if you're using one and just set it to the side. We're going to come back to hands and knees and get set up for our next pose, which is downward facing dog. So if your hands are directly underneath your shoulders, let's step the hands forward, and as you do so, spread out your fingers so you get a stretch quality between each finger. That should also start to take a little bit of pressure off the wrists, especially if you grip your mat with your fingertips. Try that, okay? And as you press into the ground, just kind of flatten your palms so your palms get a nice stretch and your arms should get very energized. Hold that sensation. Go ahead and tuck your toes under. Let's do another cat-cow. Inhale, look up or look forward, arching the back. That's cow. Exhale into cat. Hold cat pose. Don't hold the breath, just hold the posture. And lift your knees off the ground. Send your hips up into the air. This should guide you into downward facing dog. Feel free to take let's make some adjustments with your feet and hands as you arrive in the pose. Maybe 1 breath or 2. And then we're going to keep moving. You're going to step forward. Walk your feet maybe towards the center of your mat until your feet are flat on your mat underneath you. And maybe just slide your fingers towards your toes. You'll be in a forward fold. We're going to inhale and slide your hands up the legs, maybe to your knees or thighs, just enough until your back is completely flat, long and straight, and it's parallel to the floor. We're going to hold here. Keep breathing. So we have a nice tabletop position. Energy moving through your tailbone to the back of the room, and energy moving through the crown of your head towards the front of the room. Keep a good knee bend right here. You might even feel the hamstrings engage. And from here we'll stand. So just continue to shift your body weight back into your heels. Bend your knees, let your hips drop like you're going to sit down into a chair. Start to look forward. Take your arms out to the side, then inhale and just continue standing. Straight legs, long torso. Reach up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, bring your arms down by your side and you'll have arrived in mountain pose. Feel free to kind of shake this out. There's a lot of energy in the body, even though it's pretty basic and simple movements and postures, it still brings a lot of energy to the body, so feel free to kind of shake that out. Okay, we're going to go ahead and fold and come back up, okay? That's our half salute to the sun. Here we go. We're going to inhale, extend the arms straight up into the air. Good energy, nice stretch. Exhale, spread your wings. Fold forward, good hinge at the hips. Bend your knees as much as you need to, slowly and carefully. Make your way down towards toes. Now, you don't have to touch your toes. Maybe your hands land at your shins or ankles. That's fine. Inhale, slide your hands up to your knees or thighs to extend your spine. Pause with an exhale with that flat back tabletop. And this is actually half forward fold. Now, one thing from our standing position, we fold forward. Going in slow motion is really great for building kind of muscle integrity and strength, okay? Just being able to be under great control to be able to fold like that in slow motion. Okay, let's stand. Shifting weight into your heels, bend your knees, feel like you're sitting, look forward, spread your wings. Inhale, let's stand up nice and tall. Reach up a bit higher, there we go. Exhale, arms back down by your side. And once you're complete, maybe take a breath and feel free to kind of shake all that out. Alrighty, let's move into our Warrior One variation, just kind of getting ready for our lunges, okay? So we're going to start in mountain pose. We're going to break this down. We like to start with soft knees, just to bend the knees, okay, and just keep them soft, okay? That way you'll stay strong in your leg muscles. That's what we want. Start shifting your weight into your right foot. Good pressure in the right foot on the ground. You're going to lean forward just a little bit. It's just establishing balance because you're going to pick up the left foot and just tap it back. Okay, not very far, just until it just kind of stops. And you'll be in a flexed toes position like that, so heel lifted. And then pivot or turn that heel and just plant it into the ground. And your whole body should shift to center right here. So not a lot of distance between the feet, but this is our lunge. Place hands on hips, push pelvis downward to help extend spine so you feel nice and tall up top, creating space in the belt line so you can kind of turn to face mostly forward. Once you're here, inhale, extend your arms straight up into the air. And then exhale, bend your elbows maybe to about 90 degrees, okay? Yeah, significant elbow bend right there. And this is our variation of Warrior One. And just kind of notice how this feels. Not too strenuous, I hope. And that's the intention. But definitely in a posture that we have to pay attention to. All right, let's go ahead and inhale and extend the arms straight up into the air. Exhale, bring your arms down and bring hands to hips. Right there. And just start to lean forward or just shift your weight until you've got weight into this front foot. So it's easy for you to kind of pick up the left foot, just step forward right here, knees will be bent, but then stand up tall, straight legs, torso, and extended arms straight up into the sky, then arms return to your side as you exhale. So again, our variation of Warrior One, let's set up for the other side. Soft knees to begin. Start shifting weight into left foot. Nice rooted sensation. Lean forward a tiny bit for balance. Start tapping the right foot back now. Flexed toes, heel lifted. Just pause there so you can just kind of get a sense of where you are at this moment. And then pivot right heel to the floor. Shift weight so you're centered. Hands on hips. Push pelvis down as your torso lengthens and gets tall, making space in the belt line so you can face mostly forward. Inhale to extend arms straight up into the air. When you exhale, just bend elbows to that 90-degree angle, kind of shaped like a cactus or a football goal post. Facing forward, deep breaths, balanced lunge position. And even in a way, in a very subtle way, we are also preparing for our pigeon pose. Hip openers. Let's inhale, extend the arms straight up into the air. Exhale, bring your arms down, bring hands to hips. Start shifting weight forward into this front foot. And step the right foot forward, knees bent, standing together. Then inhale, stand up tall, reaching into the air. And exhale, arms return to your side. There we go. All right, let's move through our series now, more sun salutations, and we'll of course move into another version of Warrior One. As you set up, I need to adjust my mat. There we go. Starting in mountain pose. Whenever you're ready, and inhale to extend both arms up into the sky. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, sit back into an imaginary chair. So here again, there's that slow motion, great muscle control, good strength building as you just kind of flow and melt your way down. Inhale, slide your hands up the legs to re-extend your spine flat like a tabletop. Now on this exhale, fold, bend, take your time, keep bending your knees, lower your head, getting low enough until you can bring your hands to the ground. So you can step or walk both of your feet back to the back end of your mat, taking you to plank pose, this high push-up position right here. We'll breathe in. When we exhale, bend your knees like you're going to kneel down, but instead lift your hips up into the air, a transition to downward facing dog. Again, you might need to adjust your feet, stepping closer a little bit so you don't feel like you're going to slip out of the posture. I like to take my hands a little wider on the mat, providing a little bit more space in my shoulders and neck. Let's get ready for our next version of Warrior One. Here, we're going to inhale, lift the right foot and extend the leg up into the air. It doesn't have to lift high, just lift and reach through your toes. When you exhale, bend your knee quite a bit. Bring your knee in towards your chest. Shift your whole upper body forward and see that your shoulders will be aligned over your wrists. Now set your right foot down. Doesn't matter where it lands. Set the right foot down and then gently set the left knee down onto the floor. This gives you an opportunity to literally take your right hand and go get your right foot. Pick it up and step it up a little towards the top of the mat near this right hand. We're creating a wider lunge. Relift the left knee. Pivot left heel to the floor behind you. Now you might need to kind of walk the hands back, but what you're really doing is shifting your body weight back so you have more pressure in that back foot, okay? Extend your torso straight and long out over your right thigh, right here. Hopefully you can lift your hands off the floor, hinging from hips, rising up, facing forward, reaching both arms straight up into the air. Inhale as you do so. Exhale and just lunge or just bend this right knee. This is our second variation of Warrior One. Let's hold here and just notice this sensation. Straight arms, active shoulders, wider stance might create a little bit more sensation in this left hip flexor and maybe in this front thigh. We're going to inhale, we're going to continue. Exhale, turn your torso now towards the left side of the room as your arms come down to parallel. Let's just check in to be sure your right knee is still pointing directly forward. Sometimes with that transition, the knee likes to dip to the inside of the foot. We want to keep it nicely aligned, okay? And pointing in the same direction as your toes right there. This is Warrior Two. Let's reach forward. This does put an angle in the upper body. Just reach out and then rotate your arms. Right arm can come down to maybe inner right thigh, while your left hand reaches straight up into the air. So there is an energetic extension up and down. We have a nice knee bend here. Check in with alignment here. You want your shin to perhaps be perpendicular to the floor or just straight up and down. Knee nicely aligned either over your heel or over your ankle bone for safety, okay? We're going to inhale. Exhale, carefully turn to face the floor, fold and bend, plant the hands on the ground, lift that left heel behind you. You'll end up in what I call a runner's lunge. Press palms into the ground strongly for strong arms, so you can slide the right foot back to plank pose. Hold here as you're able. You can even bring knees to the floor if you need to for this. And then we're going to send hips up into the air, returning to downward facing dog, making your adjustments with feet and hands. Take a couple more breaths in the posture, getting ready for our second side. Then an inhale to lift the left foot, extend the left leg up and back. You exhale to bend the left knee, bring it in underneath you towards your chest as your whole upper body shifts forward. Try to keep your hips high too. Shoulders over wrists. Set the left foot down. Set your right knee down. This is just in case you couldn't get the left foot all the way to the top of the mat. This is a nice little step that you can add. Pick up the left foot, bring it to the top. Relift the right knee. Pivot right heel to the floor, shifting the weight back so there's pressure, good pressure of that foot in the ground. Extend your torso long out over your left thigh. Your crown or the top of the head is pointing forward, just as your knee and toes are pointing forward. Hinge from hips, rising up, reaching into the air. Reach high and lunge low. Hold. Keep breathing. Nicely extended arms. You could put a slight bend in the elbows if you need to, no worries. A little extra pressure in that back foot as it presses into the ground behind you for a good base. Even feeling that right hip flexor engage a bit or even stretch and lengthen. Let's breathe in. Exhale, turn torso now towards the right side of the room as your arms come down to parallel. Good reach through the fingertips. Check in with left knee. Be sure it didn't dip to the inside of the foot, but still pointing forward. Let's follow the left hand forward, creating the angled upper body. Rotate your arms. Reach down, reach up. Nice active flow here. Breathe deeply. I like to lunge just a tiny bit more because I just wanted to get a little bit more sensation in the left inner thigh. Again, not overdoing it, and we're not going to be holding it very long. Let's breathe in. Exhale, let's carefully turn, fold and bend. Hands catch the ground. Rise up onto tiptoes behind you. Here's our runner's lunge. Press firmly into the ground with the hands, strong arms. Slide left foot back, hold. Stay here. A little bit longer. And then we're going to set the knees down. All right. Tuck your toes under like this. Sit back to what I call half hero right there. So you don't have to get into the full hero pose, just to a place where you can easily lift your hands. What you may want to do is just do a little exercise or a stretch for your hands. Let me just face you for a second. So maybe the tops of the hands like this, and a little swing. Okay, that can just bring some gentleness to the wrist, especially after being in this force flexed position like that for all those poses. Just counter it. You can even do that by pressing very gently into the ground or onto the mat, something soft, okay? But I'm not putting too much pressure into the hands by doing that. Just a little bit of a press, okay? And then when you feel good, we'll just go ahead and sit down. Okay, swing the legs around to the front. Make sure you're sitting in the center of your mat. Have your blocks nearby, okay? We're going to lie down. You're going to lie down with knees bent and feet flat on the ground. We're going to do a few poses down here so you can get comfortable. If you need something soft underneath you, like a pillow or blanket, go ahead and do that. Let's start with our bridge pose, our mild supported back bends. This is where you want to have your blocks or books. First, take a nice full breath in, fill up your lungs. Exhale, engage belly. Lifting hips up off the ground. Slide your books or blocks underneath you and literally just sit on them right here. Make any adjustments with your feet, your sitting position, and even your upper body so you can feel comfortable for a few moments. Come to stillness and just take some deep breaths. Again, we don't have to overwork this posture at all. Just more of a comfortable lying down position with an elevated hip section, yeah? Nice counter pose to perhaps sitting if you find yourself sitting quite a bit or for long periods of time. So we're going to be getting set up for our reclining pigeon pose. Okay, after we get complete with our supported bridge pose, moving into the eye of the needle pose or reclining pigeon. Take 2 more breaths right here. When you're ready, just lifting your hips high enough so you can move your blocks out of the way and then just lower your way down. Just return to ease and comfort and we'll get ready for the next pose. So still lying down with knees bent, feet flat on the ground, we're going to pick up the left foot and cross the left ankle over right thigh. Once it's crossed, you want to see if you can get the left knee, not forced, but left knee pointing mostly towards the left side of the room. I'd also encourage you to flex the left foot. It'll just stabilize all the joints or support the joints, ankle, knee, and hip. Stay here and just notice, is this enough of a hip opener for you? Ask that question to yourself. And if not, then we're going to move on. If so, stay here. Okay? So the next point is just picking up the right foot and just drawing the legs toward yourself. This is where you thread the needle. Take your left hand and arm, thread it through that space. That's the eye of the needle. And you can use both hands to hold on to the right shin or right hamstring. And then you get to modulate how much you want to have sensation. If you really draw the legs in close, for me at least, I get a pretty significant stretch in the outer left thigh and hip, and even in the glute. If I soften it up, it's less. Here's something you can do. If you did lift your right foot up off the ground, maybe just add some movement. Circle the ankle, just to kind of loosen up in the joints down there. Flex the foot, point, flex, point, more circles. Here's one little extra thing. It's not obligatory, but you can even extend the right leg if you wanted to. Just an option, just something fun to try. But you can always just keep that leg bent. Okay? Let's spend a little bit more time here, maybe 5 more breaths. And let me just say, when we get moving into the other version of pigeon pose, and if it doesn't feel quite right for any reason, here's your wonderful alternative. Just come to reclining pigeon. So this is our reclining pigeon or eye of the needle pose. Let's release, set the right foot down, uncross the leg, left foot to the floor, pause here as everything realigns. Take a few deep breaths. And of course, we'll do the other side in a moment. And then when you're ready, we'll pick up the right foot, cross right ankle over left thigh, flexing the right foot to keep it active and stabilized. As best as you can, your right knee is somewhat pointing towards the right side of the room. That's what creates the hip opener there. Check in to see if this is enough sensation. If not, pick up the left foot, draw the legs toward yourself, thread the needle with the right hand and arm, and hold on to left shin or left hamstring. Again, just kind of gauging how deep you want to go. Now, see if you can still work at that 60%. just at a place where you can hold it for a good period of time. It doesn't feel stressful or tiring, but you have sensation. I need to soften mine up just a little bit, okay? Because this is a pose I can easily just kind of pull pretty hard and really get a significant sensation in the outer hip and glute, but that might be kind of counteractive, counterintuitive to what we're really doing here. We really want to have relaxation. We don't want to build more stress in the body. We're trying to make space in the body. So check in, notice how this feels. And again, maybe circling the left foot, getting into that ankle joint, flexing and pointing. Even feel free to extend that left leg if you want to. That's, of course, just an option. And then you can go ahead and set the left foot down onto the floor as we complete. Uncross the leg, right foot on the floor. Pause, come to stillness, allowing the body to naturally realign. Carefully bring both knees into chest and begin a rocking sensation forward and back. We're just going to rise up to seated. Now, if you can't rise up by rocking forward and up, you can always just roll to your side and then just kind of press yourself up, of course. I'm just going to rock myself up, and we're going to do a version of boat pose that I like to do, particularly in this class, where the knees are bent, okay, good angle here, feet are flexed, but instead of lifting the feet for boat pose, we're keeping the heels on the ground. Hold on underneath the legs. I just call these handlebars. Hold on to the handlebars and just sit up as tall as you can, like you're in a straight back chair or up against a wall. That's your inhale to feel that extended spine. As you exhale, engage your belly and just lean back. Imagine you're in a reclining chair, for example, and just starting to lean back just a little bit. Again, not forcing this at all, but just to a place where, oh, okay, my core muscles surely activated. I can feel this. They don't feel like they're gonna, peter out on me too soon. And of course, even holding on is gonna help. Holding onto the legs is gonna help you to hold the posture. So now once you're here, just breathe. Deep breaths in, fill up your lungs. Exhaling, engage belly. And what at least I find, I can hold this, a long time, longer than I could if I was just trying to do boat pose, okay, with feet lifted in the air. And so in a sense, because we can hold this posture longer like this, just think how strong your core muscles do get. All right, how about 2 more breaths? After the second breath, just going to maybe just sit up and just relax, okay? Again, carefully, we're just going to swing the legs around back behind us. We can come to hands and knees. We're just going to repeat a flow here. So first, a quick cat and cow, 2 breaths. Inhale, look forward, arching the back like that. Exhale, round. One more time. Inhale, look up or forward, arched back. Exhale, round. See if you can keep that cat position. Keep breathing. Maybe step hands forward. Tuck toes. Lift knees. Lift hips. Downward facing dog. As the hips lift and as the hands press into the ground, you re-extend the spine. Let's inhale, lift right foot, extend back up behind you. Exhale, bend right knee, bring it in underneath you towards your chest. Shift your upper body forward. Maybe your foot can land up near hand. Okay, if not, do it exactly what we did before. Once you're ready, pivot left heel to the ground. Shift your body weight back. Good pressure, stability in that back foot. Extend torso long out over your right thigh. Inhale, hinge your way up. Reach into the air, inhale. Still moving. Exhale, turn torso towards the right side of the room. Arms come down to parallel. Warrior 2. Side angle, so we're reaching forward. Angled upper body, rotate the arms. Reach down, reach up with some good energy. We're still in motion. Breathe in right here. Exhale, carefully turn, fold and bend. Hands come down to the ground, strongly connecting. Rise up onto tiptoes behind you. Runner's lunge. Strong hands and arms so you can slide the right foot back. Plank pose. You're building so much strength by moving in slow motion like this. Shortcut to down dog. Bend your knees, hips into the air. Downward facing dog. When you're ready, inhale, lift left foot, extend the left leg back. It doesn't have to lift high. Exhale, bend the left knee, bring it in underneath you towards chest. Shift your body weight forward as you're able. Left foot lands up near left hand. Right heel turns to the floor, shifting weight back. Good pressure back there. Long torso. When you're ready, inhale, hinge your way up, face forward. Reach up into the air. That's your inhale. Exhale, turn torso towards right side of the room, arms to parallel, warrior two. Check in with aligned left knee, pointing forward. Follow the left hand forward, angled upper body. Rotate your arms, reach high and low. Nice extension. Good energy. I'm just going to lunge a little lower. Inhale, here we go. Exhale, carefully turn, fold and bend. Take your time. Hands to the ground. Rise up on tiptoes. Good pressure into the ground with the hands. Feel the energy in your arms. Slide left foot back, plank. See if you can hold this a tiny bit longer. Bring knees to the floor. Keep toes tucked. Sit back, half hero, just to get off the hands again. If you need that little massage, create that massage again. Gentle press of the backs of the hands onto your mat or pillow or blanket, whatever you've got there, okay? Even a little circle of the wrist or even wiggling your fingers, okay? Doesn't have to be too dynamic here. And then when you're ready, let's come back out to hands and knees. Make sure your props are nearby, blocks and blankets and pillows close by. Once you're on hands and knees, we're just going to slide or even step the right knee up towards right wrist. Okay? With the left foot, you're going to tuck those toes. Tucking the toes so you can lift the knee off the ground. I'm tapping the right foot, and I'm going to swing the right foot over towards the left side of the mat, creating an angled right leg underneath me. Set the left knee down. Now back there, you could put a blanket back there. Okay, actually, I'm going to try to do that. Blanket or a towel. Placing the knee down. And using knee and toes, I'm actually sliding or shifting my leg back, but I'm shifting my whole body back, so I'm getting more into the hips. And just kind of find out where you want to settle. You don't have to go too deeply. And you'll find you're pretty lifted off the ground. This is where your block or pillow or book is going to come in handy. You'll just tuck it underneath your right cheek, so it creates a little bench for you to sit on, okay? So you can kind of relax right there, and it keeps your hips aligned. Look forward, okay? Inhale. With a good lengthened spine, exhale. Just step hands forward. Feel like you're crawling forward. Continuing this energy of extending and lengthening through your spine, as if you're in motion, crawling forward out past the front edge of your mat. I like to land here on my forearms and elbows. My head is pretty far away from the ground. This is where another block can come in handy. And I just rest my forehead on a block. And I can just kind of relax a little bit more. Now, once you're kind of in the pose, even using these props, do tune into how this feels in your right knee, even your right ankle. You can always just change the angle of the leg, okay? If it feels like it's a little bit too much, or it feels like your knee is getting torqued a little bit. And I'm actually kind of feeling that on my knee. So I'm just going to rise up. I'm just going to change my angle a little bit, okay? And even actually, I'm going to take both my blocks and just kind of prop myself up a little higher. I think that's going to help my knee today. So just always pay attention to those kinds of things so you can make the appropriate adjustments. If it's still not enough, then maybe flip over onto your back and do that other variation of eye of the needle pose. And I just brought in my pillow, my cushion here for my upper body. So now I feel much better. And I feel like I can hold the posture. Wherever you are, still breathing in and out. The left leg that's extended out behind you. Getting a lengthening sensation in your left hip flexor. Again, that doesn't have to be too forced. So if it feels like it's overstretching, soften it up a little bit. On the right side, different sensations. Maybe right inner thigh, maybe outer right thigh, and maybe that outer glute area. 3 more slow, deep breaths. You can certainly hold this longer if you like to, okay? Certainly no rush to move. But when you do move, really move slowly and take your time so you can pay attention to that transition from being into the pose as you now get out of the pose. So you might slowly come up onto your hands. I've got my cushion here, so I'm just going to set that to the side. Hands are on the mat here. I'm sitting on those blocks. I'm going to move those. And then tuck my toes behind me, that left foot. Tuck the toes and just kind of shift my body weight forward so there's more pressure in the hands. And my arms form these straight lines up and down. That should allow me to actually pick up both knees. Step the right foot back, so I'll be in plank pose. Holding there for a moment and then set the knees down. In this case, they're on my blanket because it's right there. And I'm again going to sit back to that half hero just to get off the hands for a moment. Okay? And that gentle counter stretch for the wrists. Okay? So really feel like you can, shift and move and kind of manipulate your body so it fits the pose in that very moment, because it won't be the same every time, okay? All right, let's come back out to hands and knees. And then we're going to slide the left knee forward up towards left wrist. That right foot, the toes are tucked so I can lift the knee. I'm tapping the left foot so I can swing that left foot over towards right side of the mat, just an angled leg underneath me. Setting the right knee down, it's on my blanket. You can keep that blanket there or a towel if you want. Using knee and toes to crawl back, shifting back to get a little bit more sensation in the hips. Certainly not needing to go too deep, which may mean you're not going all the way down to the ground, and I certainly don't expect that. I'm going to bring in my blocks here. Well, I like that angle right there, like that. Okay, and that's going to provide some wonderful support. Can you see? As you see, my blocks are kind of tipped up on my blanket, so they're at an angle, and it's perfect right here for my hips. I love it. All right, I'm going to bring in my pillow, and then just kind of look forward, and just as you're lowering yourself down slowly, imagine, or you really feel like you are going forward. So there's a sense of a lengthened spine in this position. Once again, just check in. Okay, whether you're using props or not, and in whatever form you have them in, be sure you feel good and you can hold this. If you feel like this is going to be too much pressure, particularly in your left knee or your ankle or even in your hip, go ahead and flip this over onto your back and perhaps practice eye of the needle pose instead. Or sometimes I like to think that you have time limits on poses, that you can be in a posture, whatever it is, and feel like, okay, I can hold here, but not for a really long period of time. That's fine. If you feel like your buzzer goes off and it says, okay, time to move, go ahead and move out of the pose. Slow, deep breaths. Tuning into maybe the sensations in the body. It's great to be in a position like this, especially when you can hold it for a long period of time with good props and support. Then the work really happens. Nice lengthening and stretch quality that doesn't feel overstretched in the right hip flexor in this case. Left outer hip and thigh, glute, and maybe inner left leg. Let's take 3 more breaths. Longer if you want to spend a little bit more time here. Then when you are ready to move, slowly beginning to rise. Back up onto the hands, moving props out of the way. Move my blocks. Tucking toes underneath so I can use knee and toes to kind of shift my body weight forward so there's more pressure in the hands. There's that forced flexed feeling. Shoulders stacked over the wrists. This should allow me to lift both knees off the floor, step left foot back, extending the leg into plank pose. holding for a few seconds longer. And then we can set knees down, toes still tucked, sit back to your half hero, okay, just to relax the wrists again, okay? Even though that wasn't a long period of time being on the hands, but you know, it's just nice that we can take that moment, this quick moment, just to counteract that stretch. Alrighty, let's go ahead and take a seat. You're gonna sit in the center of your mat. And once again, just have your props handy. We're going to just do our closing sequence here. Sitting in the center of your mat, go ahead and roll down onto your back. Go ahead and hug your knees into chest. Doesn't have to be too forced, okay? And maybe some more kind of natural movements or intuitive motions here. For me, I like to start with a side-to-side rocking feeling. Then I add a circle. I love the circling. It just feels like it's massaging my low back and a little bit of movement in the pelvis. So I'll circle one direction and then the other. And again, my feet are free. Okay, so maybe more circles with the feet and ankles, flex and point, wiggle your toes. And of course, deep breathing. You can certainly just hold in stillness, but if movement just feels kind of natural, just kind of go with it. Let's do another hip opener, happy baby pose. There's even a nice variation you can do. First, I like to flex the feet, just to, again, just kind of stabilize the body and keep it energized. And then just open the legs here. Okay, nice and wide. And just hold the stretch. Just like this. So getting into the inner legs here. Or happy baby pose, taking the feet up into the air, maybe holding on to the soles of the feet if you can reach. Or just hold on to your ankles, anywhere along the legs really. And this can be happy baby pose for you. So some variations, of course. So you don't have to lift the feet up at all, but still get that stretch in the inner thighs. I like to add another little rocking left and right sensation while in happy baby pose. Just kind of gets into the low back and in those leg sockets a bit. And how about 3 more breaths here? We're going to do another hip opener. At the beginning of class, we did bound angle pose or cobbler's pose, and we did it in a seated position. Now we're just going to do it lying down. So just go ahead and bring the soles of your feet together so they touch, and then just set the feet down onto the floor. And the knees and legs can kind of fall open, okay? Now, in the seated version, I had you place a block or pillow underneath the legs to support them. And you're very welcome to do that here as well, so that your legs, or inner thighs in this case, don't feel like they're getting overly stretched or overstretched. Okay? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to place my blocks underneath my knees here so they rest against them. That way the legs don't feel like they're being pulled. Okay? Yes, this is so much better. I feel so much more relaxed without that pulling action. But you can certainly do a combination of both. Maybe you want to have that heaviness, feel that stretch initially, but once you feel like, or you can kind of get a sense that maybe your body is reacting to the pose, or starting to feel a little stressed or under stress due to that pulling sensation, then soften it up and then support it perhaps with pillows or blankets. We're going to hold here a little bit longer. Now about 3 more breaths to complete. And then I'm going to bring the knees together. I'm just moving my props out of the way here. Bring the knees together and give yourself another hug. Just draw the knees in towards your heart. Maybe a couple breaths here. And we'll finish with our twists, spinal twists. You're going to take the knees, both knees over to the left side as you extend your right arm to the right side. Just a few breaths here just to get that twist. You might even feel a little pop in the back, along the spine. All natural, of course. 2 more breaths. Just kind of letting the weight of the body kind of move right into this wonderful twisting action. And then we'll come back up to center, realigning. And then knees down to the other side. Extend left arm to the left. Some more deep breaths. How about 3 more breaths? And after your 3rd breath, just take your time. You'll return to center. We'll just use the final moments, minutes of our practice to come to Shavasana. So you can extend your legs straight out in front of you on the ground, arms relaxed down by your side. Please feel free to use any props here to support your body. A blanket, for example, underneath you, your head, your legs. You can even elevate your legs. If your body feels a little cool or chilled, maybe place that blanket over you. Okay, just cover yourself up so your body stays warm. Let the body relax. Completely release. Allow the breath to guide you there. Stay here as long as you like. Even as I end the practice, feel free to stay completely at ease right here in Shavasana as long as you need to. When you are ready to move, start by taking 5 slow, deep breaths. Just starting to bring energy back into your body. Some subtle movement returns to the body as well. After your 5th breath, moving in slow motion, as slow as you can, gently and carefully roll onto either side of your body into a nurturing pose. And still moving in slow motion, press and lift yourself up to seated. And feel free to sit on a pillow or blanket so that you're able to sit up nice and tall. A good length in your spine, maybe cross legs in front of you here. And your arms relaxed down by your side. And just find stillness. Take a breath. And then one more movement together. Let's inhale to extend the arms out and up. One last stretch. And as you exhale, bring your palms together and down to your heart. Hold here in stillness and take one more breath. And as we come to the close of our practice together, we bow saying Namaste.